Hey everybody, welcome into the NESN Digital Studios. Michaela Vernava here, joined by Kris Abbott, our sports analyst for OddsShark.com. Kris, everybody here in Boston, the wait is just killing us. 10 days off before the Stanley Cup Final starts, but we are very excited. And the Bruins, I know, have been favored to win the Stanley Cup now for a while, but now that their opponent is set, minus 155 favorites. What are your thoughts on that line?
Yeah, I think it's about the right line. The Bruins actually opened at minus 160 and it's now minus 155. So that means money has come in on St. Louis since yesterday. And I think we have to give a lot of respect to the Blues, especially the way they finished off San Jose, who, albeit, were a little beat up, and also the way they finished off Dallas and Winnipeg before them. So the Blues are coming in here pretty good. I do like St. Louis's depth, but of course the Bruins have the best goaltender in the world right now in Tuukka Rask. You mentioned that 10-day layoff. I'm not worried about how the players respond. I think it's great for injuries and stuff. I am a little bit curious to see how Tuukka Rask comes out in Game 1 Monday night because it's a long layoff for a goalie that was in such a zone like he was.
Yeah, he has been an absolute wall throughout this playoff run, and deservedly so right now is the favorite for the Conn Smythe. Do you think would you put your money on anyone else, any of the other guys that are sort of in the running for that honor right now? Do you think there's any way anyone else could catch him after what he's been able to do so far?
If the Bruins win, he gets it hands down. He's minus 120, the odds-on favorite to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. He was 22-1 before the playoffs, so if you got in on him then, wow, congratulations to you. Brad Marchand is the second highest Bruin on that list. He's at 7-1 now. Start of the playoffs, 35-1. But should St. Louis win this series, and I know we don't want to talk about that here on NESN, but Jaden Schwartz has had an unbelievable playoff. He's plus 325. Of course, Jordan Binnington's been very, very good at plus 350. I think it would take a remarkable series from anyone else besides those four guys to win the trophy. And Tuukka Rask is pretty good at minus 120 right now. I've already made that bet. I wish I got it earlier. I did not, but I'll be rooting for Tuukka Rask for sure come Monday night and the rest of that series.
So now, with the Bruins knocking on the door for a championship right now, could be the third championship coming to Boston in a matter of a year, which makes the Celtics, unfortunately, the redheaded stepchild, black sheep, whatever you want to call them. A lot of people here in Boston no longer fans of Kyrie Irving. What are the odds for where he's going to end up next season?
It's really interesting, and it's unfortunate the way that Kyrie seems to have ended his tenure with the Boston Celtics. He's going into the offseason where the Celtics are actually the number 3 team in terms of odds to sign him. The Knicks are paying even money. We know New York has all kinds of cap space. There's rumors about he and Kevin Durant both going to New York. I'd be really interested to see how that played out. I understand why people aren't really into Kyrie, the way that he kind of said, I don't care anymore about my performance. Like, that had to be terrible for both his teammates and fans to hear with the playoffs still underway in the series they went out in. So the interesting one to me, the Brooklyn Nets plus 250. I don't know if you guys have heard anything, but apparently he's been linked to Brooklyn as well. So looks like he's going to stay in the East somewhere. The Knicks and the Nets are the favorite. Then there's some longer odds with the Lakers plus 350, the Clippers plus 1100, the Mavericks plus 1600 down to round that list out. It certainly looks like the Lakers and Clippers are in the free agent market this summer. Of course, Kawhi Leonard's been rumored to be headed back out that way. So I'm interested to see, but there is a chance, of course, that the Celtics re-sign Kyrie because they do have that flexibility to offer him a contract that other teams cannot. But we'll see what happens.
And then looking ahead to the NBA Finals, can you break down the odds? I'm sure it's going to be a shocker as to who the favorite is for this year's NBA Finals.
Believe it or not, the Golden State Warriors are the favorite to win the NBA championship.
Way. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, I know. It was a shocker. We had to write an article on it. It was crazy. Minus 240 right now as they await their opponent. The Bucks plus 250. And then you've got the Raptors at 9-1. And it's just tonight they're going to start a best 2 out of 3 with Milwaukee. And if you ask me, the Raptors played pretty good in Game 1. They were blown out a bit in Game 2. Games 3 and 4, they handled pretty well. And it's the defense for the Raptors that has really impressed me. They've been able to slow down Giannis. Now they've got Drake in their head for like the wrong reason that most people usually have Drake in their head. So I'm really interested to see what happens here. I think the Raptors deserve a lot of credit for what they've done. And at 9-1 right now, I don't mind that. It's a long shot, clearly, obviously, but I'd rather take that right now instead of the Bucks at plus 250. I might take the Bucks if they get in the final and see how it goes and just kind of play game to game. But the Raptors at 9-1 with their proven ability to shut down other teams' high octane offense, I don't mind it at all. But yes, we're all pretty sure the Warriors are going to win.
You mentioned Drake there. Are there any weird prop bets as far as Drake goes and his influence on these NBA playoffs?
I mean, if you ask me, I think it was a little bit much, kind of touching the coach. He was kind of like leaning on the advertisement board there back in Game 3. But he's done what he wants to do. He's gotten into the head of Mike Budenholzer and the Milwaukee Bucks. Even Giannis's agent had something to say about it. So I guess he's doing his job. He's not a player, but he is affecting this series. Haven't seen any props yet. I was looking for one today. I would love for him to show up in Milwaukee tonight, but I don't think that's going to happen. They probably wouldn't let him in the building. But I'll keep an eye out, and I'll let you know if anything surfaces.
Yeah, I doubt they would let him in the building. I know that there's a radio station out in Milwaukee right now that will not play any Drake songs throughout this playoff run. So there you have it.
Well, it's hard. It's tough to keep him off the radio, but I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah, it really is hard, but they're doing it. Kris, thanks as always for the advice. I want to encourage everyone to head over to OddsShark.com for any and all betting analysis. And Kris, we'll check in with you next week.
Great, Michaela. Thanks so much. And hey, let's go Bruins.